We have an Android project here. First of all, let us look at what is in the build.gradle. My minimum SDK version is 24. To use Completable Futures, your minimum SDK should be 24. I am using the view binding that is available in Android. I have a video on how to enable view binding. You don't necessarily need to do that. I am also going to use Lambda expressions for Java. So I am going to enable Java 8 on my Android Studio. And finally, I am going to use Project Lemubit. Now, this is a library that enables you write simpler or more concise Java code. I have a video on that as well. Amongst all I have written, you don't really need all of them. The only thing you really need to do is to make sure your SDK level is at least 24. Let us look at the UI. Now, the UI is quite simple. You have like two segments. Below, you have a button and a text view. Above, you have an edit text, a button, and then a text view under that button as well. For the button below, the name of the button or the ID of the button is btn add. When you click that button, the number on the text view above it, txt add, should increment. So when I click the button, the number should turn to 1, then again 2, then again 3. That's all, very simple. For the button and the edit text above, what they are meant to do, I'm supposed to write a name in the edit text. When I click the button, greet, it should write hello and then the name in that text view below. Let us run it and demonstrate what I am talking about. So this is how the UI looks. Very simple. If I click add, the number should be incrementing. And then if I write a name and click on greet, I should see hello, that name. If I say Donald and I click greet, I should see hello Donald. Let us go to the code. Now, we can see a variable called count that is going to hold the increment number that is going to be displayed in the text view in the bottom. Because I am using view binding, I am going to inflate the layout, call the activity main binding, and then set content view by using binding.getRoot. I will say binding.buttonGreet.setOnClickListener. Now we are using Lambda expressions, so I'll use a Lambda expression to implement the onClickListener. I will get the text from the edit text and pass it to a method called quickGreeting. Now this method accepts a string, which is the name, and returns hello, that name. So if I put in John, it should return hello John. Then I would now set the text of the text view to that text. TXT greet message would be set to the greeting. Then if we check the onClickListener for the add button, it's quite simple. All we need to do is increment the count, then set the text of the text view to the latest value of the count. So each time we click, increment the count and set the text. That is quite simple. Let's check the method quickGreeting. Remember I said it's a method that accepts a string and returns hello plus that string. That's what it does. That is why when I click on the button add, the number increments. And if I type a name, let's say Israel, now there is a method here called delay greeting. I called thread.sleep. So this will sleep the thread for 5 seconds. I put 5,000 milliseconds, which will translate to 5 seconds. After that, I will now return hello name. Now this is supposed to simulate a delay or a heavy process. So we can change the method here from quick to delay greeting. After getting the value from the edit text, it will take like 5 seconds. So we can click the add button and it's working very fine. But once we click greet and we try clicking the add button, the whole application freezes and suddenly recovers. So when the thread is sleeping, the whole application is done because it's trying to work on something. Let's say I put pizza and I click greet. As it is working, that add button isn't going to work. Then after some time, it suddenly comes back. I'm like, I'm done. But while it is working or during that 5 seconds, the app isn't responsive. Now, we can use Completable Futures. Now that AsyncTask is deprecated, you have various options, but you can use Completable Futures. I have a whole set of video on Completable Futures, but let us quickly use it here. I would say CompletableFuture.supplyAsync. In that supply async, I would put the method that should run in the background, which is delay greeting. Then accept says, all right, when the value is ready, give me that value. That value is S. Now, the issue is then accept might be running on a different thread. We want this thread to run on the UI since we are editing elements on the UI. So we write run on UI thread. And in the method run, we put the operation we want to perform, which is set the text of txt greet. To make this code simpler, we can use the lambda expression. So we don't need to write or create an anonymous class. This is straightforward. CompletableFuture.supplyAsync. It will run this program in the background. Then accept says when you're ready with the result of that method. Do this. So when it is ready, it will run on the UI thread and set the text. So now let's see how this behaves. When we run or type a name here, you can see the add button is working. When we click greet, the add button still works. We can keep clicking on the add button and the app is still responsive. When the result is ready, it updates the text. So I can put John, I can click the button, and when it is ready, it updates to Hello John. So that is how we can use Completable Futures. To really understand Completable Futures, I will put a link to a tutorial I did below. If you're not running on UI thread, you might not even need to call run on UI thread. Let's say you want to store it somewhere. You could just put it after you get the value from, then accept.